What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Social Sig vlog. Today is Friday, June 21st, and we are officially back from the Road Dog Tour, our 28-day long road trip slash tour with Crab Cake, me and Sheila. We got home nice and safe and sound. Crab Cake is doing very, very well. I know I hadn't vlogged in a while just because I was so busy on the road, but we ended up having to take little guy to the emergency room. What was that? It was, I think Monday morning, we went to a dog park, Creek, and he was running around having a blast of a time. And then we ended up driving towards our campsite in the middle of Kansas. And we're about 30 minutes away from Denver, and then Crab Cake just started to get these weird muscle tremors and body shakes, panting like crazy, and something was just not right. We just knew that something wasn't right. So turned around, raced 30 minutes to, I think it was Aurora, Colorado, where we found an emergency vet clinic, and got there, and Crab Cake peed blood in the lobby, and it was super, super fucking scary. But they got a diagnosis on him, and all of his vitals were good, and we think it was just a mixture of like lack of routine and overexertion when we get to the dog parks and stuff. And so we had just had to monitor him a lot, and ever since when we got out of the clinic, he was a-okay. And he was extremely tired like that first on that Monday night, but he's all good now. So that was a little scary, but other than that, he looks like so slumped right now, but he's been super duper happy to be home the last few days. So are we. Just super yeah, just feels so cozy here at home. We cleaned before we left. But yeah, so anyways, I'm gonna put Crab Cake down, but just wanted to give you guys a quick Crab Cake update. He is good, and we very much are so happy that he's doing all right. So I felt like I should have vlogged sooner just because so much was going on, and I got a little anxious because there's so much to fill you guys in on since the last time I vlogged, which was in Seattle. But I think I'll just to keep this like somewhat short. I know like it was like a 30-minute vlog last time, but just to give you guys some like recaps. I might be bouncing around a whole bunch, but overall, the Road Dog Tour is extremely successful. Feeling like still like kind of like in the processing mode of everything, because we're traveling so much and so many saw so many friends, made lots of new friends, lots of driving, and lots of memories. So like I feel like so much has happened in this last month, and just extremely happy and proud about how it all turned out. I'm really glad that I booked it the way I did, and really no major hiccups other than the Crab Cake thing. And morale was in high spirits pretty much through the whole thing, and yeah, it was all pretty seamless. So if you're watching this and you saw us along the way, hey, it's the loudest toy he has. And you saw us along the way, thank you so much. It really, really made the entire trip so awesome, seeing so many friends, and just the hospitality that we were given on the road, and just the amount of love that y'all gave us, and even at the shows, and just where we were staying, and just so many good things to talk about. But yeah, so overall, it was literally the coolest trip that I've ever done in my life. Saw the country out west. I've never have driven out that way before, let alone done shows out there. I did a show in Boulder 2 years ago, which was really cool when we flew out there. But yeah, never have driven through like the West and the Pacific Northwest and down to San Diego. So I don't know, just kind of bouncing around. I don't even know where to start, but So last I talked was in Seattle, so maybe, and I was heading to the show in Olympia. That was really, really great. Met some cool bands, and the owners there were really, really sweet and kind. It was like the small coffee shop in Olympia. Also, I had vlogged or taken a GoPro along this entire trip, so I got tons of cool footage that I am gonna put together and make the Road Dog Tour documentary. Hopefully, so right last night when we got back, my laptop was not turning on, which I brought it along on tour and it was working. But this morning I took it into the Apple at Bayshore. Basically, it's working, but the display is not. So they have my laptop now and they're working on it. So I feel a little bit anxious about that. I got to do a lot of shit, but I have Sheila's computer that I can work on some stuff on. Just as far as like doing all the financials and stuff, I was taking, basically marking all the income and expenses of the trip the entire time. And I'm feeling pretty confident that I made money on this. Not that that's like the most important thing, but definitely when it's my only source of income now, being a full-time musician, that is a goal to hit. And I'm proud to say I think I gotta look back at the add it all up and figure that out. But so many people bought merch, got pretty low with the merch bins like yesterday, or I guess Chicago was the last show, and people were buying skate decks and stuff and t-shirts, and so that was really, really cool. And I put a lot of work into the merch to make it as presentable as possible and cool as possible for y'all, and that definitely was a huge part in I guess funding the tour. So that was really cool. So yeah, after Olympia, we were in Seattle for 5 days, or during that part, which was really nice to stay with Alex, Ada, and Joey, some friends of ours out in Seattle. So that felt really, really nice, just to kind of take in Seattle and not travel as much. And then we headed down to Portland after that. Portland was a really cool city. We were only there for a day, but it reminded me a lot of Milwaukee. People just walking around, just wearing whatever they want to wear and being whoever they are. It was really cool. And the whole trip, Sheila and I are kind of like, oh, maybe we could move here, like, because, I don't know, just kind of thinking about, like, our next adventure, because we always talk about moving somewhere outside of Milwaukee for a little bit. Can always come back, but, like, just when we're still young and stuff, to live somewhere else for a little bit. But I still really like Austin, Texas a lot. But Portland was really cool, smaller city. The show was really sick. It was a Tuesday night. And thank you to all the bands literally on this tour. Saw some incredible musicians. Everyone was super, super fucking friendly. There wasn't one that was like stood out or anything that was just like kind of a big head or ego or anything. I'm really, really happy with all the bands that I got to play with and all the venues too. Like literally, I can't say it enough that like it was so seamless. Like it really, really went well, and I think that has to do with like putting a lot of prep into the booking and putting a lot of work into it, which feels really rewarding. Honestly, the last like months leading up to the tour, just spent so much time prepping for it and making sure I had everything good to go, like crossing the T's and dotting the I's, and that really, really made it worth it for sure. And I think I talked about, so Portland was really dope. The next day we ended up traveling through the southern Oregon and northern California, which is like the redwoods territory. Saw some of the biggest trees I've ever seen in my life, which was just mind-blowing. Like literally these huge redwood trees. We took a dip in the ocean. We didn't technically swim, but we took a dip. And then just like weaving through like the northern Gold Coast, I suppose. It was super, super pretty drives, really long drives because it was just so much weaving. The scenery was insane. Yeah, and the weather was really good too. So that was really great. 2 days later, we got to San Francisco, stayed with Sheila's friend Marley, and Sheila's sister Haley met us out there, who was hiking the PCT trail. And we were only there for a day. And a lot of the time with all these cities too, we're just like, dang, wish that we were here for an extra day or 2 or 3, because we were just kind of like go, 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 which in normal tour fashion, that's kind of how it goes. But also we were just taken we were so well taken care of that with friends and stuff, that it was like, dang, this would have been really, really nice. I got to San Francisco. We walked to the park, which was, I'm kind of forgetting the name of the park, but it was Presidio Park, which is a beach, and you can see the Golden Gate Bridge. And it was a little cloudy that day, but pretty solid. And I remember getting into San Francisco was when I first started to feel a little sick, so I got some Tylenol. There were a few moments like throughout the end of the trip where I felt like I was getting like really phlegmy and like allergies really kicking up, and so I bought some Tylenol, and every time I would feel that, I would just kind of take some Tylenol as prescribed, like to not get as sick. So I never got like super duper sick, which was good, but definitely some like allergies and would kick up pretty good. But for the most part, like never was bedridden or anything, which like thank God, and never got like anything serious. So that was really good too. Got to San Francisco, went on a walk with Haley, Marley, Crab Cake, and Sheila, and then got back, and the show that night was a Sofar Sounds show, which was sold out, which was like the Sofar Sounds are like these intimate venues, or intimate shows at like non-traditional venues. So it was at like this 10th floor like private club kind of thing. That was really cool, and it was this really cool intimate like wine bar room. That was really great. Sold a bunch of merch, met a lot of cool people, and saw like San Francisco. Not as well as I thought I could see San Francisco though, but just like the day that we were there, saw a good amount. And then next day we headed out to LA, which was definitely the most like trafficy day. Getting out of San Francisco was absurd because the downtown area was blocked off, blah blah blah. Got to LA, super heavy traffic getting in. Stayed with my cousin Riley, and it was quite a long drive for sure from San Francisco to LA. And then it was super busy getting in with traffic, so basically just dropped Sheila and Crab Cake off at Riley's place, said hey quick, and then bounced to the venue. That was with Emmett Mulrooney, who's a friend in Wisconsin. He's out in LA now. He was the other musician on the bill. Did LA, that was super fucking cool. Really cool bar at Bar Lubitsch. That was a really solid night. Lots of homies came through to that show. And at the time, I think that was like my favorite show at that point of the tour. Just to have so many friends and people that had known my music, because with a lot of these shows, I'm playing in front of crowds that don't really know like my music at all. There's usually some people that do, but it's a lot of like winning over the crowds, which is super fun. But then it's also really refreshing to have like the homies there just like going super hard and shit. So that was really great. And then after LA, we were just there for a day, saw all my cousins and stuff. That was really fun. It was a Saturday night. And then headed out pretty early the next morning to go to San Diego, where we stayed with Sheila's brothers and dad. We were there for 3 days, which I was a little anxious about, like not having a show set in San Diego, but it honestly worked out super duper well, because on that last Tuesday, we were staying in Ocean Beach, which is like the super hippie beach town area of San Diego, which is really cool, super dog friendly. We went to a dog beach where Crab Cake was literally having the time of his life. Excuse me. We were having the time of our lives. It literally felt like heaven, just a big, huge beach with just dogs running everywhere, and the weather was good, and got to go swimming a little bit. That was the first official time that Crab Cake got to go swimming. So that was great. And then on that last Tuesday, we were there from Sunday till Tuesday night and left Monday morning. But on that Tuesday night, signed up for the open mic at Winston's Beach Club, where didn't know really anything of how they formatted it. And then they basically do like a 15-minute slot, so you can do 3 songs. Sheila's brothers, who have never performed on stage before, signed up with me, or like we all signed up separately, so that was really fun. A new experience for them, which is cool. And we all had a good time. It was this really cool, like, they had this garage door open up, so Crab Cake got to watch a little bit from the outside. And I ended up playing 3 songs, and on the last one, the dude who was hosting it, jumped up on the harmonica, and this other dude jumped up on the drums, so played. And there was like definitely a huge crowd there, like good crowd there, super attentive, and lots of cool compliments there. So, and met some people who have mutual friends with me. So that was really sweet. And I feel like I'm just breezing over a lot of this just to give like quick recaps, but I feel good that like all of this is documented on the GoPro, so hoping to give you guys a good feel once that's all done. Timeline, I have no idea when I'm gonna finish this documentary, but feeling good about all the footage and shit that I got. So but not trying to keep it long as far as the documentary goes, but lots of cool footage and stories to throw in there. So and excited to look back on it. And then so after San Diego, we drove to Sedona, which was the longest drive. It was like 9.5 hours. Really long drive. Honestly, felt pretty tired that day. Got into Sedona, which is really pretty. It was great because Sheila's friend Haley Robinson, aka Bruce, she works in hospitality at this super nice, like, fancy hotel, and she got us a room for free. It has this pool, it's dog friendly, and that's a really fun part in the footage, is like us walking into this hotel after like doing lots of campsites and staying with friends, and then just going to this really fancy hotel. It felt like pretty fun. So swam for a little bit, and then I headed out about an hour north of there for a show at Flagstaff, it was a Wednesday night. Flagstaff was a really cool, like, mountain town. It's like 7,000 feet in elevation, so it felt like a little lightheaded or whatever. And the band's all there, like, everyone was so nice. Shout out Andrew, I forget his last name, but he's in a band called Side Project, and then the band called Scrunch. They're all kind of like skater dudes like myself, so got along really well with them. I was like pretty much half awake. I was so tired, but like had a great time. The turnout was insane, just super randomly. I was not expecting that. The Monte Vista Lounge was a super cool cocktail lounge with a venue attached to this hotel that's supposedly haunted. But yeah, just a really cool downtown area with like a mountain in the background that people go snowboarding in the winter. So really cool town, Flagstaff. Was not expecting that. So played the show. My buddy Enrique from Phoenix drove up, and he took some awesome videos and stuff of the show. So definitely excited to post about that one more. He's getting the footage back to me hopefully soon. And then drove back after the show that night, and then we left really early in the morning for we drove through Flagstaff, got breakfast in Flagstaff again because I wanted to show Sheila Flagstaff, because a lot of these shows, not a lot, but some of these shows, it just like worked out easier if Sheila stayed back with Crab Cake. And that was kind of like the original plan as well. So she got a little bit of FOMO sometimes, but it was okay. And it was our main priority, Sheila's main priority was taking care of Crab Cake when I was at the shows and stuff. So it definitely worked out having that support for sure. So Yeah, much love for Sheila for being a boss when it comes to taking care of Mr. Crab Cake. So after that, we drove to. Actually, we checked out the Grand Canyon that day, which was insanely cool. Like, felt like we were getting like vertigo or something, like staring at the huge canyon. That was our first time seeing that, and it was just massive, just like absolutely breathtaking. Just like, oh my God, this is insane. So hiked around the Grand Canyon for a little bit, and then we drove to our campsite in Monumental Valley, which is on the border of Arizona and Utah. Camped there for a night. It was like this red sand and like cool not mountains, but like rock formations everywhere. It felt like we were on Mars. It was super duper windy that day, or that night. So we slept in the van, and it was really hot in the van, but every time you'd open the door, like a bunch of this red sand would come through. So that was kind of fun, but didn't sleep the best that night. Next morning, we drove out to another really, really long drive from there through Moab up to Fort Collins, where we got a hotel. We were going to stay with Sheila's aunt in Vail, which I'm really happy we didn't. It kind of fell through, but we drove through Vail, which is like 2 hours from Fort Collins, and our plan initially was maybe drop Sheila and Crab Cake off. I drove to Fort Collins to do the show and then drive back after the show another 2 hours, but it was just like future reference. We're not doing that. Ended up getting a cheap hotel in Fort Collins, which is like a minute drive away from the venue. It was super nice. It was a DIY place, and everyone at Fort Collins was super fucking nice too. Super cool people. Played with Rose Bay, Charlie Boy, who was, I did 4 shows with them on this tour. They're from Wisconsin, so it's kind of really cool to see them. They're sweethearts. And Rose Bay, Charlie Boy, and oh my gosh, why am I forgetting this last band? Tongue Bites. Those Tongue Bite and Rose Bay are from Fort Collins. Fort Collins was a cool city too, like not super big of a city, but everyone there was super, super kind. Had some friends come out. And that show, I personally feel like that was my least like best show, like performance wise. A lot of these shows I felt pretty good and getting like more comfortable with the backing tracks and stuff. But at that point, with like 2 9-hour drives, like back to back with like a day in between, it was just like that point I was like pretty exhausted, but still chugging along. My brain was just like completely scrambled a little bit, but definitely still present for the most part. Like, I think like on the road I have this like extra gear that kicks in or something like that. But Fort Collins was really cool. Met a lot of cool people, and then slept in the hotel. But during the last band was when Crab Cake, I don't think I posted about this online, but a few months ago, I probably talked about it. I definitely talked about it, where he had a slip disc in his neck, which was super duper scary. It was like last January or so. He would just like not be able to lay down, just like with his, he's kind of like a weird dog breed, so he's very prone to like neck stuff. So basically we took it easy for a while and gave him meds. This is like a few months ago, and it basically kind of like refitted itself or healed itself. But we think it's because of the hotel bed that he like jumped down and he might have tweaked it. So, and Sheila called me like super nervous and scared that his neck thing was happening again, because he would just be like super stiff and like crying and like crazy if he would try to lay down and like put his neck down. So I felt good that we knew what it was, but it was really scary, and I had the dog meds with me, so packed up super quick like after it, then raced over, got the meds, and he was like good. So and that kind of tails into like why we were like kind of nervous a few days later when we took him to the emergency room. But anyways, so that was scary, but with the meds he was all good. And then kind of like dosed him, like try to like wean him off like the next day or two. So Fort Collins, then we did Denver, where we stayed with our friend Adam, who had this awesome house like 2 minutes from the venue, Larimer Lounge, where I played with Sempar and Big Pinch, who were the bands that I played with in Boulder 2 years ago. Really, really great to see them. Had so many friends in Denver come out to the show. It was a 5 p.m. matinee show, which was great. That was definitely the most like the show where the most homies came to, which was really good to see everybody. And we were feeling good. A little bit nervous like the night before with Crab Cake because Adam was hosting like a pregame and we were gonna be staying there and all these people, and just wanted Crab Cake to be comfortable. But he was like acting completely normal, so it's becoming a theme where he'll like become like really like dramatic and like tell us like something's wrong, but then like once we kind of figure it out, he's like completely fine. So it's it's kind of annoying, but it's good that he like can tell us that he's like not doing all right. But so Denver was super great. And then Saturday night was really fun. Hung out with like lots of friends back at Adam's place. Next day we hung out at Adam's, and then I had a show in Colorado Springs. So it was Father's Day. Happy Father's Day, by the way, to everybody. Shout out to my dad, who's the best dad in the world. The most supportive dad I could ever ask for. He's probably watching this. I love you, Dad, so much. Thank you for supporting my dreams, and yeah, happy Father's Day. And so had a show in Colorado Springs that night. Didn't think there would be a lot of people there, honestly. Like Sunday night, Colorado Springs, super random show. But literally, this was a moment where it was just like complete opposite of all my expectations. Like went in, didn't get a sound check just because the time of doors and all that stuff. I got some dinner at a gas station that I skateboarded to. Also didn't really skateboard that much because most of the trip my right knee was like really in pain, and I think it was just from so much driving, to the point where I usually scoot my chair up pretty high like when I drive, but then I ended up scooting back more and like letting my legs stretch more, and that was definitely a game changer. But my knee was kind of fucked up a little bit most of the trip, so didn't really skateboard. And it just didn't really work out. But that was like the one time I skateboarded, literally to the gas station and back. I was also a little bit nervous I would like fuck up my knee or something like that, and not be able to carry all my gear and stuff. That just wouldn't have been worth it. But anyway, so Colorado Springs, drove there. It was super pretty, like drive. It was super green. Like Denver is so like rocky and dusty and stuff. But driving it was like an hour south of Denver. Super like green and lush and cool, like mountainy. Yeah, so I ended up like being at the venue, met the bands, the Rage Tones and Glitter Porn, and did that show with Charlie Boy as well. And all these people started to kind of file in, and I was kind of hanging outside, just like working on some shit, and it's like, dang, there's actually like a good crowd coming in. And then the Rage Tones opened, and everyone there, all the concert goers were just like super good energy, like ready to rock. And Rage Tones kind of put out there, and they were super friendly and cool and put on a good set. And they asked and they're from this place, I forget the name of it, Peoria, I don't know, like south of Colorado Springs. So they didn't know, or a lot of the people didn't know who they were. So, and me and Charlie Boy being the touring band, I had a few people come out, but there's the Glitter Porn basically was the main draw of that show, and they had a really cool like fan base come out, like really cool energy. Charlie Boy went, and then I went, and then I realized while I was setting up that my power cord for my backing tracks was missing. I must have forgotten it at the Denver show, or I for sure did. So I was kind of freaking out trying these different chords, and nothing was working. And then this one person, Finch of Glitter Porn, my savior, had like this whole bin of different chords, and they're like, what's the connection? And I was like saying all this gibberish of like what it was, like reading, like, because I don't really know like power systems that much. And then they were digging, and they like pulled this one out, and they're like, this will work. And I was like, oh my god, thank you so much. And it worked, and then ripped the set, and it was literally my favorite set of tour at that point yet. Literally felt so good. Like I hit all my cues and stuff, like so good. And the crowd is just, the energy there was super great. And then I also had this idea of like, I don't know what inspired it. I know I've seen people do like the turn off the lights, like the headlights of the stage, and then everyone use your flashlights to light it up. Maybe Bug Moment has done that before, I'm not sure. But I went down to the floor level with my acoustic guitar and just did an unplugged song, Melting on the Street. And it was just this super cool moment. Like the energy was feeling good and right. Like I felt like I could do it with that crowd, and everyone was super down and like really, really cool. So ended up adding that to my sets like midway through, of like just making a cool moment in the middle of the set. So that was really, really sweet. And then finished the set. It was fucking awesome. And then packed up, headed out. I know this vlog is super duper long, but rightfully so. I haven't vlogged in a while and so much has happened. Headed out, drove back to Denver that night, got some McDonald's. So yeah, lots of driving and lots of like lugging gear in and out, just like one man band in it. And honestly, like I don't know, like lots of people are like, how are you doing this? Like you got like, I don't know, just giving me lots of props for doing this myself, like running the merch table, running my gear, doing the show, driving there. Like, I don't know, it's just like kind of what I'm used to. This is like what it has to be done. So, and the solo sets have been great. Like, as much as I love playing with the full band and stuff, but it's just nice to, I've always been more keen, or I've liked to do like more lone wolf stuff from time to time. So everything worked great as far as like, I know what I got to do, and yeah, I've been doing this for a little bit, which feels really good to feel very confident and running my own little operation. So getting better as we go. But anyways, so yeah, got back to Denver next morning, headed out to so this is when the whole crab cake thing happened. We stopped at this place called Cherry Creek Reservoir, I think, which is like a state park in Colorado. Went to this ginormous dog park, and there's this like creek there, but we were walking to the creek, and there's this still water creek, which was super muddy. Crab cake ended up jumping in it, and we were like, oh shit. And he was just like in the muddy, like still water, not dirty, but like it just wasn't like a swimmable creek, but he was just kind of stuck in the mud. I went in there, grabbed him out, pushed him out. He was licking up some of the water. So fast forward, that's like why we thought he might have like something wrong with him. Like he had a bug that he like got from the water or something like that. But then we went to the main creek, which is literally the coolest, like comparable to the dog beach in San Diego, like just this nice shallow creek, and people were just walking their dogs. It was like up to like your knees at some point. Sheila and I took a dip at this like more deep part, and we're just walking along this creek, and there's dogs everywhere. And then had a blast of a morning, like felt so good. And then yeah, we started driving, and then 30 minutes out, Crab Cake just started like, well, first he hopped up into Sheila's lap. We keep his crate behind my chair where I'm driving, and then keep a little walkway behind so he can like sit up by the passenger seat if he wants to, so he can have like roaming abilities in the cabin. And he hopped up by Sheila and just started like yelping, like he was in pain. We're like, what the fuck? Pulled over, and then we're like, okay, like gave him some more of his meds, because we thought maybe that was from his neck, like maybe he tweaked his neck. And then he started like kind of shaking, like muscle tremors, like looking back, maybe it was the gabapentin that we gave him that was making him shake and stuff. But we knew something was wrong. Like he was panting like crazy, he wasn't stopping, his heart was beating super fast, super scary. And so literally turned around, raced to the closest vet, which was 30 minutes back from where we were, and got there, and we were like literally felt like he was gonna die. Like literally, we were so scared. Got into the ER, vet, or dropped Sheila off. I parked the car, I got in, and there was like pads on the ground, and then like the faces on like the vets were like, oh my god. And I was like, what the fuck? And then they said that he peed, and there's blood in his pee. So at that point I was like, okay, something is like majorly wrong. And then they took his vitals and stuff, and like did tests and whatnot, and he was like completely fine. So like we're like, what the fuck, dude? Like I don't know, like, I don't know about that diagnosis. So they basically said to keep monitoring him. They weren't worried about him getting a bug in the water because he wasn't like having diarrhea or puking or whatever. So, yeah, so it was super stressful. We kind of took our time leaving. And we were staying at a campsite in the middle of Kansas that night, and we were just like, okay, at least there's no show to get to. And so we were taking our time, monitoring his pee, like looking at his pee whenever he would get, and it was completely normal. And he was just exhausted. So, got to the campsite outside of Hays, Kansas, super duper late. And it was like really scary moment, but yeah, it felt, we were on the home stretch and like, geez, like we're almost home. I feel like just so much traveling and so many, I think it was just overexertion and the lack of routine, just a mixture of everything. Just like, let's just get home at this point. So, next day, drove to Kansas City, which was another long drive, and then long drive, played the show in Kansas City, and my last show with Charlie Boy, did the show with a band called Mopsy from Lawrence, Missouri, which is a school in Kansas City, I believe. And then Tidal Wave, who I played with them last December at that same venue. So it was really good to be back there. Kind of a weird area of Kansas City, very industrial, kind of sketchy, pretty sketchy feeling. But the show went really well. I felt really solid about that set. And then that was one where Sheila and Crab Cake were just mostly nervous about Crab Cake still, but Sheila and Crab Cake got to hang out on the patio. They're dog friendly too, so they just like hung out in the venue, and we hung out all together all throughout the night. And then we had what we thought was a 2-hour drive to Des Moines, Iowa, to stay at a hotel there. But once we put it in the GPS, it was a 3-hour drive. So that was a really late night. I ended up getting there at like 3 in the morning, maybe a little bit after 3 in the morning. It was a rainy drive there. But I did a lot of the driving. She like keeps giving me props for it. I did like the majority of driving this entire tour. But there were a lot of like nice times when Sheila drove. And which like we split up like the long ones, but if it was like a 6-hour drive or like anything less than that, I felt like I was pretty good about driving, so that was fine. And I'm also kind of like spooked when I'm not like in control of the car, like yeah, especially with like having like the window stuff up. It's like, I don't know, just felt like more secure about it. Yeah, drove to Des Moines, got there really late. Next morning, woke up really early to drive to Chicago. Got to Chicago. Sheila drove most of this one, honestly, which was really nice. I slept, felt like just like the tour just felt really exhausted at this point. Got to Chicago, loaded in, played with the Basement Party and Sin Wednesday night show. And a good crowd came out to Book Club, which is a DIY venue. And my cousins came out, Michael, Jace, Charlie, my Chicago cousins, and a bunch of their friends. And that was honestly like really, really, really great way to come back to like the Midwest / home, so to speak. Real good crowd came out and felt like really well taken care of, for sure. But first, before that, I drove to Sheila's mom's place to drop her and Crab Cake off, and then I drove an hour south. Sheila's mom lives in Northbrook, which is like north of Chicago, like an hour with traffic, and played the show and felt really exhausted, but like honestly like really good still. Like never have felt like this like once this entire time like, why am I doing this? This is like so dumb. I hate this. Like never crossed my mind. Like this is all so fun. Like loved every second of the experience. Yeah, there wasn't like a darkness at all, or like negative thoughts really about like second guessing myself with any of this. So that was really cool. And I remember like after the Kansas City show too, and like each show too, just getting better and better and better, and like maybe I could do this, like maybe you can do this better with the performance wise. Like being a solo act, like you gotta really, really, really kind of make it an entertaining show. And definitely learned and got better and better at it, so as I expected, and feeling really solid about my solo set at this point. So looking forward to making it even better now at this point. And this East Coast tour coming up in fall, I'm highly considering doing it solo with bringing Sheila and Crab Cake out as well, because it just, everything went so well, and just like managed it super well, and having Sheila along was great, and then Crab Cake just made it so fun. And then also staying at friends' places is just much easier with Sheila and Crab. So I don't know, it just like went super well. I had the fucking time of my life, and really excited to show you guys like more content about it. But yeah, I got back from Chicago yesterday and just unpacked everything. Took a deep nap, I was in a deep sleep, and then we made dinner, watched the movie. I found out my laptop wasn't working, and then last night, like literally just slept so deeply. I kind of had trouble falling asleep, but feels so good to be back home. And just like looking forward to getting like in a good routine, cleaning up shop a little bit, doing my ledger and all this stuff. Like now I feel like some more different work is beginning now, and yeah, so Road Dog Tour was a success. This is the longest vlog. Thank you so much for watching this entire thing. If you did, no worries if not. It's yeah, so just wanted to give you guys a little snapshot of the entire tour, I guess. So but yeah, the Road Dog Tour documentary, Road Dog documentary, hopefully gonna be starting to edit it this summer, but also want to start working on some new music. Yeah, kind of wanting to slow down on booking for this upcoming winter to work on more music, getting my online store set up hopefully this summer. Got to order some more merch, but yeah, seriously, thank you. I'm reaching out to the venues and people that we saw on the road this week, but like seriously, thank you so much for everything. Whether you let us stay at your house, you played a show with us, you were the venue, like literally everything went so well, and very, very grateful that it went the way it did, and saw the dang country. Like it was just the coolest experience ever. So excited to do it again, and just felt so rewarding and great to get out west for the first time. So in this like year span, it's crazy to say that I've toured the East Coast, down south, Midwest, and the West Coast. So just really have seen the U.S. this last year. I don't know how many states I've been to, but been to the majority, and I've played shows in them. So thank you. This is literally like everything I've dreamed of as a kid, and I'm just being super maybe a little cheesy right now, but literally yeah, thank you so much for everything, and continuing to keep the ball moving and working my ass off, and it's been so rewarding. So more to come, and next shows, I guess I'm gonna put them in the link below. Check those out, just for the sake of wrapping this up quick, and love you guys so much. Thank you, and see you guys at a show hopefully soon. Got some Milwaukee dates coming up and Midwest dates coming up, so be sure to check those out. All right, love yous, bye.